There we are. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Steam. I'm Ramon Scott. I'm coming to you from the sports betting capital of the world, Las Vegas. And we're previewing another sports betting day here on Monday, October 23rd. It's a big day here. Not a lot of games, but big, important games, especially two big games in the major leagues tonight. Diamondbacks, Phillies, Rangers, Astros. Yeah, we've got Monday Night Football. We've got a hockey game. We might even preview a few college football games for the upcoming week. Well, we'll start on Saturday anyway, knock out a few games. Didn't see a lot of action really. We saw some line movement yesterday. It wasn't as great as the weeks prior. That was on yesterday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, going over the opening lines for next week's college football. Yesterday, you can check that video out if you want, where the lines kind of gave out the first moves that came out at Circa Sports here in Las Vegas. And how did your day go yesterday with football? We can review. We have probably a few minutes to review yesterday's action. Hello to folks joining us in the chat today. Let's say hello as we get ready for today's action. Who do I've got? John Karras has returned. And Ivan Riley here today. Did a great job with his information. Blake is here. Tone's hanging out today. And Ferner. Well, at least somebody had a great day. I'll show you what's going on with the crew at Tony's Picks in just a minute. But do want to get some feedback as we get ready for the big baseball games today with what happened with yesterday's game with Texas and Houston. Yeah, the road team won again. That's 6 straight games in Texas and Houston. What is going to happen in game 7 tonight? Will it be another road victory? And of course, game 6, of course, in the National League World Series starts on Friday. No matter what, that is set. So just get ready. We'll be ready for the World Series this weekend. No matter what, no matter when the other series ends. Of course, yesterday 9-2 final in that one. Adolis Garcia, he had the last laugh this time, and Mitch Garver, 3 RBI. Jonah Heim, the home run. Rangers' third straight win in Houston. And the final game of the series tonight, we'll talk about it. How about NFL yesterday? I'll just review the games. Maybe you can review your wins or losses in there yesterday. Hello to everyone. Solo here today. And Thomas says like and smash to get it rolling. So, well, Werner on one end, Solo on the other. And I was hoping for a little better day. I was pulling my hair out. Well, I was pulling my one hair out. All right. Maybe just review a couple last night. Maybe just start with the night game because it, certainly can be late on the East Coast. But Miami uh, loses to the Eagles 31-17. Jalen Hurts, terrific, 280, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 10 catches for 137. Eagles, 3 sacks, an interception, to 216 yards, just 1 touchdown. How about the Ravens yesterday dominating against the Lions? Hey, all the receivers got to do is catch the ball. 357 yards for Lamar, 3 touchdowns. Ravens defense making the Lions look like the old Lions. 5 sacks, a pick, 2 fumble recoveries. They blew them out. The Raiders. Hey, how about the kid, Tyson Begant? Badgett, I guess you better say his name right. The kid from Division Two with all the records. Well, he got the job done against the Las Vegas Raiders. 162 yards and a touchdown. The Bears, more importantly, 173 yards rushing. Uh, Deonta Foreman, I was on a show last week talking about DFS. They needed someone in. I can't even play DFS. I love DFS, and I guess someone wasn't available for a show. Who do you call? You call Ramon. I went on to some show, giving my DFS picks, and I was talking highly of Foreman. I said, you want to know about Foreman? Here we go, and I'm going to tell you about Foreman and why maybe to play Foreman. And he had the 3 touchdown performance yesterday. Makes me want to go back. But the Bears defense also 3 interceptions of the Raiders. What are the Raiders doing? They look confused. Um, you know, don't try to act like the Patriots if you're the Raiders right now. Well, maybe this week you could, but the Raiders with they don't even know what they're doing at this point at quarterback. They say, "Oh, you know what? We're not going to start, uh, O'Connell because this is a preseason. We'll put just a disaster for the Raiders. Really, not to have the situation settled at backup quarterback. It looked like to me. Hey, Browns over the Colts. Game of the day, 39-38. Kareem Hunt. Uh, you know, didn't get the big work necessarily, but we saw Ford go down. We saw Taylor go down. Taylor being selfish, it looked like to me, to go in there and look like that. Look, you want to do what you want for your team, but you got a guy like uh, Walker. He did the job before, right? So why not let him be in there again instead of a Tyra? It looks like Deshaun. Uh, Deshaun Watson. Did I say? I was thinking of Tyrod for some reason. Deshaun Watson looks like he's given up on the season. I don't know. Maybe this guy comes back, but I'm not interested actually. If I'm Cleveland, I'm looking for a guy who's going to know what to do to win with a team, being a team player. That's not Deshaun Watson at this point. 39-38 against a bad Colts team, a Colts team that are certainly mediocre at best. But Browns get it done. Needed that win. They get the win. Minshew, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, but also a pick, 3 fumbles, 4 sacks, and Myles Garrett makes the play of the day, and then the blocked field goal. Browns win. Bills over the Patriots. Belichick, 300 wins. He's a great coach. He'll just beat the Bills out of nowhere. Mac Jones, 272 yards, 2 TDs. You gave up on him already. Game-winning touchdown to Gesicki on National Tight Ends Day. As if tight ends didn't get enough attention in this league. Just what they need. Josh Allen, a good day, but the Patriots had the game plan. I went up, talking up the Patriots certainly a bit. We had them on the show last week, and again, I think really though it's just more. It didn't kind of play out the way I thought. We kind of misfired a little bit on the game on the total, but the Patriots, get them back into division where they belong. So we had some good winners in that morning session. I mean, we gave you Atlanta on the show last week. They get the win 16-13. It wasn't pretty, but Ritter, 288 yards, touchdown, but 3 fumbles. But they have, Young Wei Koo, 51-yarder, and Baker, 275 yards, TD, interception, sack 3 times. That's what you get from Baker. But we gave you Atlanta. We gave you the Baltimore Ravens. We gave you the Patriots on the show last week. We had some good winners. The Washington Commanders yesterday lose though to the Giants. We mentioned Taylor, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Giants interception 6. sacks as well of Howell, and the Giants with a goal line stand in the fourth quarter to get it done. Let's see what else. We gave you Seattle. They get it done for the money with a late field goal. Gino, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. Walker, 100 yards rushing. Seahawks defense at home, 4 sacks. Josh Dobbs, pedestrian, 150 yards. Cardinal defense keeps you in there a little bit. I think more so we think about them being gutsy, but I think their defense is really what's kind of been. And they didn't cover the spread. They did only scored 10 points, but again, they were covering the spread most of the game in that one because a low score yesterday, and we had a premium winner on the under yesterday there, as well as Packers and Broncos. Gave you a premium winner there with the under 19-17. Broncos, what they have? Maybe 350 yards of total offense. Jordan Love, just 160 yards. He did make a big play late, but the Packers still lost. And tonight, we'll get to it as far as this evening with the Niners, Niners and Vikings. Last I checked, and we'll see Christian McCaffrey probably game time decision. No Debo tonight. All right, and your comments regarding Sunday. And Ferner says the public. Let's see. All those public plays bombed yesterday. Good day to be. Yeah, that's usually me, I think. Well, I did have some pretty, contrarian sides here, I think, yesterday. We did have you on the Broncos as well. So, okay, let's see. Ferner did try the Bills, and Thomas says he thinks Watson. Yep, he got the biggest contract ever. Got to wonder what in the end what they were doing. Everybody wondered what is Cleveland doing. Now it all could still pay off. They're still going to be live. Look, I'm just not sure. I'm just not. Maybe I'm confused, right, about what this guy. I mean, because how bad can you look? With the 2 picks going down, the injury that didn't look like an injury, and then he says in the post game, "I think it's my back, but I'm not sure." I don't know what he was saying, but talking about, well, you still need a guy like Allen, right? I mean, few quarterbacks can throw it in there, so all right, and we'll preview some games today. Appreciate your comments. Go over to Tony'sPicks.com and take a look at how the handicappers did on Sunday. And all right. Over at Tony'sPicks.com, where you'll find our premium picks. These are our best picks every day. Over at Tony's Picks, we'll take a look and see how the cappers did. Daniel Wolosichuk, 5-0 on Sunday. That's huge to have a big day like that. Nick Lagaretos, 4-0. He had a big day as well. So a couple of hot cappers here. Collins Brown also coming in strong with a 5-2 mark on Sunday. Platinum Bella, 5-3, making a leaderboard appearance here. And Hollywood Sam is in the profit on Sunday. Over the last 30 days, over at 7 days, over at Tony'sPicks.com, it's still Hollywood Sam in there with a strong percentage here. And also plus 1,918 units. Joseph Schultz coming in with 67% winners over the last week. He's up 14 1/3 units. Probably Samba Murti, a real strong week here, 57% over 12 units. Daniel Wolosichuk, 67% over the last 7 days. Nick Lagaretos up nearly 4.5 units last week. Sean Bila up also 4.5 units last week. I was up 3 units for the week. That will work, but we want to do a little better. That Sunday coming in I'll maybe show you a little bit, but here's Bella, also up a couple units last week. Collins Brown and Marlo Pettis. Over the last 30 days, it's Hollywood Sam absolutely destroying it. 43 and a half units of profit over the last 30 days for Hollywood Sam. Great job, Sam. Joseph Schultz also up 30 and a half units over the last 30 days. I'm up 24 and a half units. Who cares? Those guys are smashing it right now, but I'm going to take 24 and a half units, and hopefully you will too. You guys, I'm going to give you a bunch of free winners. Well, not a bunch, I guess, on a day like today, but going to get some free winners in just a moment. But hey, if you need a little jump start, well, you could do worse than trust me. You can go all up and down some of these sites there and find any capper. Well, you got these two gentlemen doing well ahead of me here over the last 30 days, but 24 and a half units. I'm here on the show right now doing a little commercial. So need your bankroll start a little bit. Well, please trust me to get you some winners. Maybe grab a week long pass here, and I'll take you through tonight all the way through next week of Monday Night Football. Pick up that package today. 7 days worth of winners here from me at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all premium pick packages. So if you get that weekly all sports pass for $149, that's very reasonable if you think about it, because you're going to save 20% as well, and you're going to get 7 days of my picks, and we're going to come through with a big week, and uh, we'll get you winners all week. Don't forget tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow NBA season starts. There's only 2 games. There's like 50 hockey games, but then we come in with a big NBA card on Wednesday. Big NBA all week. It's NBA right now. This is it. So pick up my weekly all sports pass at Tony's Picks. All right. So if I can just talk a few of the other cappers here real quick. Over the last month, Ben Ruhala here up 13 units, and Nick Lagarettos up 9 units as well. All right. All right. Appreciate your time here, Ramsey World today. Hello. And let's get into some previews here for the show. Talk about whatever you want to talk about right now, or get ready to hold your peace, whatever they say. So I queue up the games here and get ready to go in baseball. Yeah, we're going to start with baseball. We got to start with baseball. We got to start with the biggest game of the day, the biggest games of the day in chronological order. We know there's a game 7 tonight. But first, we'll start off with game 6 in the National League Championship Series with the Philadelphia Phillies here against Arizona in this one. And let me peek at the current line right now. This was the line as of late last night. I don't think there's been any change. Oh, well, yeah, there has. Showing the Phillies down now to maybe $1.70 at some of the sharpest offshore books currently. And show one square offshore book though at right now $1.88. So I don't know. Could be anywhere in here in this price range today. The total, yeah, 8 under 15. It looks like for the most part here with got Merrill Kelly going up against Aaron Nola. Nola's been hot. Kelly's been good as well. Nola 1.44 ERA in his last 5 starts and a 3-0 record. The Phillies have won his last 7 starts. Also, the Phillies have gone over in 6 of his last 8 starts. And Nola's always been pretty good quality when it comes to in the playoffs with a 3.25 ERA in 8 playoff starts and a 5-2 record. For Merrill Kelly, he does have a 2.35 ERA with a 2-2 record in his last 5 starts. Arizona just 17-15 this season with Merrill Kelly. And unlike the American League Series, the home team has been the team to dominate in the National League, winning all the games thus far. So that's why now we're back here in Philly for a game 6. Or no, well, not all of them, obviously. It's 3-2 Phillies. They can wrap it up tonight. Kay likes the Phillies to do it. Good night, Munchie says season's over for him. NBA starts tomorrow. Why? The Snakes to tie the series for James. And Schwarber anytime home run here for Ferner. Or he's got Schwarber, Ferner, of course, he wouldn't be anytime TD, not because he's not a football player, where I'm teasing you on that, but Schwarber would be an offensive lineman. He wouldn't even have a chance to, or, well, maybe he could be a fullback, I guess, but hardly your prototypical leadoff hitter. What a series Schwarber has had. And what can you say? Schwarber, he's almost made a career out of the postseason, really, which is a great reputation to have. Doubles is ready to wrap it up in the NFL already. I'm not. Just one mediocre week is not going to shake me. Just because I was hitting 66% going in, and 63% coming out, I'm not going to be swayed by that. So Arizona 7-3 record here in the postseason, just 2 playoff starts for Merrill Kelly. Take a look here and see if there's anything good, maybe anything good on the BVP today. We have seen this, matchup already, but so the Diamondbacks lineup have 17 hits, 6 extra base hits, 1 home run in 75 plate appearances against Aaron Nola. Some of these hitters, you got Pham, just 1 hit in 12 plate appearances. Christian Walker, 2 hits and 11 plate appearances. Gabe Moreno, 3 hits, 5 plate appearances for the Phillies against Merrill Kelly. Trey Turner, 10 hits and 27 plate appearances and a home run, 3 doubles, pretty good numbers there. Bryce Harper, just 1 hit in 3 plate appearances, but you gotta like his matchup against a guy like Merrill Kelly here, I would think, with Harper. There's really nothing yet. Like I said, 3 plate appearances against Kelly, but to me, when I see that matchup, I like Harper. I was down on a couple of these matchups in this series with Harper. Maybe that's been proven to be a little bit of a slip up by me, but I like him in this matchup. Schwarber, you mentioned the anytime home run here for Schwarber today against Kelly. He does have 2 home runs now in his career in just 11 plate appearances. Schwarber has taken Merrill Kelly deep twice. Let's see here. Mike says he has Phillies to win the series. So does that mean take it tonight? And M. Looks is here today. Says riding with the Phillies. Ray says he's taking the Phillies, but not betting. Just going to watch the game. And no doubt, it's baseball. So if you don't like the game, you can pass. I'm never passing on a Major League Baseball playoff game. Solo's betting every game day. So am I. Why not? And, should be exciting with today's 2 baseball games. And I got to make the call here, don't I? With Arizona and the Phillies. Let's check a little bit of a movement here to see if it's going to change my opinion, or if you guys, I don't know if anybody said anything in the chat necessarily to sway my opinion here necessarily today. So, all right, crew. Well, in this one, if it's going to be sitting at 8, I'm going to probably end up on the over here as my play with these two. I know these guys have been good, but back in Philly now, Phillies have all that power, momentum. I don't want it to end. Um, I might find a way. I don't know here, but um, boy, that price is attractive, right, Thomas? Arizona getting cold, but right, and you're right. I might, you know what, Mike? Uh, it was just like last. I mean, here's the thing: I've lost a few games in this series because it's still to me a Major League Baseball game. So maybe I'm gonna get now that I'm getting a little bit more input from you guys. Maybe I can switch here to uh, Arizona in this one. It feels like to me because of the price. I mean, this is just a baseball game, right? It's not just a baseball game. It's a huge, huge deal. But man, it just feels like all right. Maybe I do want Arizona. Maybe I do want Arizona here in this one. The price is too good, but they just same thing happened in an earlier game in the series here in Philadelphia. I just wanted to take the attractive price. All right, I said it. I better just stick with it. Just take the over here. Add 8 runs. I mean, if the Phillies win, I would think it goes the way they've been smashing and using that momentum and using that long ball here. Uh, Phillies have won 16 of their last 22 games. They have a 7-5 advantage over uh, over the Diamondbacks this season. And as I said, um, home team here 4-1 in the series. Not five, not all of them. We know the Phillies got that road win. Okay, is Thomas and he's 8 over? Cut me, Lou, cut me. All right, Thomas will come in on the over as well. Like I said, I mean, I'm just not sure I can pass up in the end on an Arizona team. I'll see how I can get on them. I don't even know if a run line is comfortable at a dollar. Oh, it was $1.55 earlier, and it could be going down. If I can get $1.40 on the run line, I might even be in a premium land here with the Diamondbacks today at this price. Again, the Diamondbacks are obviously had a great season for them, right? I mean, they took everything we said. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tout it because I don't have a big play on it, but um, when we got to that, when we were in that first round, I said, I want to get on a long shot. Let's do these Diamondbacks because, basically the longest shot in the field at the time they were 12-1 when I was on the air, and I could only get 10-1. But and again, they're losing this series right now, so um, not something even worth hedging on probably, but got an in pocket ticket. Might be tearing it up tonight, but nonetheless, I can't, baseball. This is a baseball game, right? You're supposed to. These are two of the best teams. Supposed to be the best four teams. Yeah, maybe Arizona has overshot their shot a little bit here to get in this situation, but uh, they've had big performance. They were strong early. They were strong late, and in a baseball game, it just doesn't. It really doesn't make any sense. I know momentum, baseball, all that, but. Um, Truly doesn't make a whole lot of other than the fact that playoff games are magnified. Maybe the volume is magnified, and you know bookmakers set a price to try to balance their action. But uh, you know what $1.85 means? I mean, that's really pretty huge, really, when you think about it, right? As far as a winning percentage for a team, $1.85, especially in Major League Basically, you're going to say the Phillies are going to win, uh, you know, uh, not, 3 out of every 5 games the team's played over a whole course of 100 games, uh, Phillies would be winning almost 60% of the games or something like that. I don't know. It's $1.70, $1.90, whatever the range is right there. But uh, it doesn't seem right. I mean, baseball, your two teams like this play 100 games and maybe one of them wins 55, not 60. So just seems like, or more. So, okay, but I'll take over as my official play. I got to get the sequence right here. Seems like I've had the winner on the show or the premium. I don't get it. And the premium's my strongest play. Whether or not we make it, I think we will. I mean, it looks like that price is continuing to go down here. If the Phillies are getting this much respect with the line, Thomas will lay it though. He looks like here -2.5 and take the plus money. Is it plus money? I'm sure it is, or at least even. Oh God, it's plus $1.75 at least. What am I thinking? So enjoy that game, and then get ready. This one will be uh, run up against uh, other series here. I mean, the Monday Night Football game, but nonetheless, this is still a bigger game, even if the Niners are playing in a good game against the Vikes. But with it, Game 7 here with the Rangers and the Astros, and okay, uh, the road team. We know the storyline here with the road team winning every game so far in the series, but the problem you have here tonight with following that pattern. If it's a pattern, um, there's got to be some psychology to it, especially the Rangers were because they weren't very good on the road this season. But strangely, the Astros, for all their success, and I made it almost a joke about it, right? The Astros were so much better on the road, and of course, we still kind of tease them a little bit. Um, Remember, Jose Altuve hit one of the most controversial home runs of all time in the postseason. And sure, he was calm, cool, and collected when he hit that other big home run. But, with Garcia smashing it last night, that terrible high pitch, all Stan could do was watch it, and turn. And, like I said, maybe he will get the last laugh here. Now, uh, Bruce Bochy is unbelievable in facing elimination. I believe they said 12-1 in his last 13 games as a manager when the team has their backs to the wall. Now, this is your back is to the wall. A lot of those may have been, situations where, yeah, they were facing elimination and they still had more work to do. This is more not so much elimination, but winner take all, right? Winner goes to the World Series anyway. For Max Scherzer, it was a bad experience with Max last time, and he has just a 5 ERA in his last 5 starts and a 1-2 record. He's had just the one start in over a month, and it was awful, quite frankly, considering you're supposed to be pitching in the postseason. And he let his team down. If again, not unlike Deshaun Watson, but maybe you should know better what your arm can handle, what your body can handle, what you know. You don't want to go down and let down the team because even if you're a Hall of Famer, if you're not even a major league quality pitcher or something like that, feels like you're going to let the team down. So is there something to this road situation with the Rangers here? Javier's been absolutely terrific. I mean, he has been really off the charts terrific right now. So much so that you'd have to think that they do have a quite a bit of a pitching edge here, and you're dealing with a cheap, pretty reasonable price. Feels like in this one, when you look at that, when you look at $1.25 compared to over $1.85 over there, I mean, sure, you're getting Max as an underdog. But the total is pretty disrespectful. It looks like to me in a way. In fact, we've already seen some widely reported steam come in this game on the under. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, and it feels like the tension will be on. I don't know if the total can necessarily get away from these two teams tonight. It feels like to me. Let me see if that. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Widely reported steam came in on the under not um, an hour and a half ago. Some early East Coast betting. It feels like here. And yeah, well, Thomas, here's the interesting thing about it. It's a road game, but not really. Well, because of the way the road teams are winning, or because we know Houston fans are doing a good job. I mean, it's not like the Ranger fans, but are coming in there. So I'm gonna. I've gotten beat on some of these because I've tried to go with the home team here, but to me it looks like an advantage to me in the starting pitching department. And I think Javier will come out. I think Javier will be terrific. He's been terrific, and that's something I want. Now, if it comes down to it, and I'm not. The bullpen is like, well, I don't know if it's a wash now at this point, at this time of the season. We've seen, inconsistency. We've seen some okay performances as well. But the Ranger bullpen, they got 8 outs last night in the win. I'm not too worried about it. 5 relievers last night for Houston to get 12 outs. So they spread it around pretty good. Feels like the teams are in the best position, at least that they can be. Um, oh yeah, okay, doubles. You're right. Okay, yeah, good point. No, yeah, no problem there. And remember, this has already been. They don't go back and forth. They just stay. They just stay in that city. So this is a back-to-back games. They don't travel 3 hours and go play one day. They spent the night in the bed here. They're probably just waking up, heading to the ballpark. So, Houston 9-3 in Javier's last starts. I'm going to take Javier at home on the show here, but I expect good performance from the. I expect better from Max. Oh, I wanted to mention because Thomas said he thinks they'll pull Scherzer early, and I believe his outs proposition is 13 and a half. What do you think, guys? Can he get through 4 2/3 innings? Uh, Sounds like Thomas says no. And if Scherzer is gone, Thomas has got Schwarber and Scherzer making a love child. If Scherzer is gone now, it doesn't necessarily mean he's gotten beat, but certainly it does mean that he's encountered a little. Because Max is going to, if there is some way that Max comes out and has a, you know, strong performance, he'll go as long as as long as he can go. Now it doesn't feel like because we saw what we saw last game, but again, he was coming off a month layoff where it was a question. You're like, you know, you're never going to question Max in there even after like, hey, in the 13 and a half out under, Ray says under. Okay, there it is. So, but you're not going to quit. Got to make a return, right? Max could help the team in a different role. He could be a reliever or something like that. You don't want to be disrespectful to someone, and you want to give Max the ball. That's what this guy's conditioned to do. He's been one of the best in the game. But I'm gonna take Houston, but just because Javier has been so dominant, real strong. I've always been. Hey, Timmy Two Shoe here today. He says, "How about a Yerfie in this one?" And I'm probably not the man for that, even though I got the stats. But and Adrian Hinsey, hello, he was here to talk about Monday Night Football. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and change to football now and just wrap it up here with I'll take the Astros. Fernando's on the Rangers. I'm taking Astros on the show. And again, I'm putting a lot of faith in Javier and think that there here's where the difference lies for me. I mean, Matt, I'm just gonna think we get a little bit better Max. But remember, Max was at home last time where he's actually been quite comfortable and he's been, shaky on the road. So Javier not only strong right now, but also in his career in the playoffs. 2.08 ERA in 16 appearances, and 5-1 is his career against Texas. Meanwhile, for Scherzer, actually a 3.8 ERA in 23 playoff starts. We've seen Bad Max before in the playoffs, not Mad Max, but Bad Max. Before in the playoffs in his career. I mean, we've seen a couple of uh, rough spots here and there. That's kind of all right. Let's get it. Adrian wants to roll with here. He says, let's get into some football, and we're in Minnesota for the game tonight. And oh, oh, look, it's the 49ers. It's 6.5 or 7. We get all that. Get a chance to see the showcase 49ers. We got CMC on the injury list this morning, or the injury report, sorry, here. But feels well, you know what it feels like, you guys. I don't know, you tell me. The Vikings certainly can be bad, and they're just 2-4. They're the unluckiest team in football this year after being the luckiest last year. But how will this one go? Look, Thomas says, I already bet San Francisco. Blake's ready to go under already at 43 with these two teams. The earliest lines way back when had San Francisco just a 2.5 point favorite. We know how things have changed, but they also have that total much higher. Thomas says he's got McCaffrey in this one. Let me check my injury report, Thomas. And McCaffrey's a guy that although he ends up on the injured list a lot, he sucks it up. He sucks it up and gets in there. Now, this is an oblique injury. And for a player like that, it does feel like that is a problem. The biggest problem, though, is the big man is out of this game. And that has the most concern, right? One of the, I don't know, one of the elite players in this league is out of the game, Trent Williams. I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, here's the Niners by 10, but to make McCaffrey go, you certainly like to have Trent Williams in there. It's funny how things change when Trent Williams. Remember that fight? Remember that fight the other week? Was that in the? Who were they playing? They get a little pregame skirmish, and then Trent Williams shows up, and the other team's ready to go back to their sideline and fight's over. So he says, my man Fred Warner, the Mission Hills Grizzly, is going to come through and sack Cousins. I think Fernando says this one, let's see. All right, let's get into some of the numbers here anyway. I'm just taking my time today here with this. Also, Debo out. Mentioned that in the pregame, right? We know that the Vikings are missing Justin Jefferson. Thomas got a new phone. Thomas bought a new phone just because of the autocorrect problems he was having in the morning Steam show. That's so honorable of you, Thomas. He was tired of me making fun of all of his autocorrects, and this one's not working either. Anyways, uh, for the 49ers, of course, said they were outgained. They had a bad day against Cleveland, but who doesn't, right? We know the Cleveland defense, it's pretty good. Nobody's questioning that. So, coming off the first loss of the season last week, but here's another thing, right? Where was that game last week? The 49ers at Cleveland? Right? 49ers at Cleveland, right? Where's the game this week? At Minnesota. Well, that's not a big deal, right? When you think of Minnesota, I mean, it's on the road 2 weeks in a row. West Coast team travel 2,100 miles, 2,200, whatever it is, 2,000 miles, twice back to back road games on the road, uh, facing a, look, Vikings are 2-4. Don't tell their fans that, right? This is going to be, heavy skull tonight. And yeah, it hasn't looked good. And yeah, do the Vikings, supersede all expectations last year? Yeah. Are they still a good football team? They're probably average, below average. Um, they can win games at home, as touchdown underdogs because the crowd gets going. Look, the 49ers, they're number one for me. That was a great performance by the Eagles last night. I still got to think if it all comes down to it, the 49ers are the team at this point. Anybody can win that game, 49ers or Eagles. And again, I'm almost drawing the line right there. I was talking about the 4, 5, 6 teams, maybe a seventh team. Someone tried to talk me into yesterday that could win the Super Bowl. So no problem with the Niners. It's still the NFL. This looks like a tough spot to me, quite frankly. I'm taking the points. I mean, I'm taking a touchdown in an NFL Monday night home dog. Have you ever? I don't know if you guys. I've only been doing a morning steam show for over a year, and I know you guys are big betting fans. I mean, you've heard of Monday night home underdogs, haven't you? So I look. I love the Niners. I love them this year. I'll probably root for them. I don't know who they're going to play, but you know, I don't. I'm not. I'm not a hater, and I like Lynch. I like the Purdy story. I like all that. I love Debo. I wish he was in there, but they've got guys. They've got Ayuk is like is fills the role when Debo's out. Again, no CMC. Thomas says he's in there. I'm not. So we'll see. DK at 6.5 here. I'll grab the six. You know what? Let me do that. Let me do that. In fact, because I know I do see I see 6.5s out there too. Well, I see a lot of sevens. DK is probably one of the few big 6.5s out there. But here's the thing: last year, Minnesota won all the close games. They got lucky, right? They got all the turnovers. They've lost 4 games this year by, by an average of what, 5 points, basically. It feels like maybe 6. Let me see here. They lost by 3. They lost by 6. They lost by 4. They lost by 7. Last year, they were 11-0 in games decided by 8 points or less. This year, there are 2. They've lost those 4 games. So, and unlike last year, where they were a good team with the turnover differential, the lucky statistic, well, all of a sudden they're -7 in turnover. They've turned it over 13 times already. I don't know what lucky turnovers are random. I don't know about that. Sometimes if turnovers are random, do you see guys don't run? They do sometimes. They run down the ball and they drop the ball when they're running, but usually it's like a hard hit, right? They're for some reason that position players in position to get hit real hard, or playing a defense that is really good and they hit hard. Hello to Darren. Blake says, don't forget. Cousins prime time. You don't like that. And Kirk is a guy who plays good when the momentum is right. They could get momentum tonight. Unfortunately, he's going up against a good defense that might neutralize things just a little bit. This total has continued to go down. And can San Francisco? A good point, Mike. Like I said, to me, Trent Williams is a Christian McCaffrey. Well, it's hard to replace him, but I think it's harder to replace a tackle like Trent Williams in this game. All right. We'll say this. So this NFC West really terrific, man. 9-3-1 against the spread against the other divisions so far this season. So we already know the Niners are great. The other teams are really strong too. And talk about the turnover game, right? Talk about everything's going wrong this year for Minnesota. They're not getting turnovers. They're -7. Have 13 turnovers. Well, the Niners are exactly the opposite. They have 24 turnovers this year, or no, plus 10 turnovers this year already. So I can't talk. Go ahead, you guys. I get it. Niners are great. I think they're great. Uh, this has been always a tough spot for them. They don't play here every year. They played here occasional, over the last few years, but they haven't won here in 4 straight meetings. Niners are probably better right now than any of those other games. Also, unders 7-2 to the under in this series. Vikings have gone under their team total in 5 of 6. Niners have gone over their team total in 4 of 6, but I've got to have the points here. That'll be my free play in this one. Vikings to have an okay shot to get an upset here, just because to me, uh, already don't want road teams, no matter what road teams they are, 2 weeks in a row on far travel. It's one thing to just play a road game in the division, maybe they play Cleveland and then San Francisco goes to play a division game against Seattle or LA or Arizona or something. But this is go to Cleveland, come back, go to Minnesota next week. So it's tough to do. Not a lot's. I mean, not a lot's made of it, but you know it's tough for these teams to do that. It's something that you know second straight road game period is tough. Third straight road game is even harder. Sometimes that happens. You get a third road game. All right. I'm taking Skull and the Vikings. I've got the 49ers win the World Series as well. They're gonna whoever wins tonight, they're gonna. Anyways, I still have the Niners number one to me to win the Super Bowl, and I'm taking the Vikings tonight. So hope you guys can. Whether or not you guys agree or not, I think you can respect that. This is like I said, if you go with your no disrespect to any cappers out there, man. But if you go with your numbers every time, right? That's not right, right? You can't always. I guess if your numbers are the best in the world, I guess you can. Thanks, you guys. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. And man, we've been here an hour already. We previewed 3 games, but that's what you get with me. And they say I talk too fast, but I'm trying to slow it down. All right, we got 1 game on the ice, and well, at least it's my Canadians going up against the Sabres. And man, what can you what can you say right now about the way things are going, kind of in the old Atlantic Division? uh, Everybody's good in the Atlantic Division right now, except for the Buffalo Sabres. It seems like even Montreal's having success so far this season. And well, Buffalo has a couple of wins too, so I'm not saying they're awful, but um, kind of compared to um, what's going on with some of the teams, especially out west. Hey, these teams are looking pretty good, but not really. I mean, hard pressed to think which of these two teams might be the bottom of the barrel in the division at this point. The way Detroit isn't anymore, they're off to a great start. So, uh, for me, I'm gonna take my hat. I'm gonna take my Habs in this one for sure. Guess I'll preview the game, but I'm taking uh, Montreal here. They got already 2 wins and um, played a good. Also got or got another point, so they're off to a pretty good start. They got 5 points from 4 games. They're only in sixth place, and I'm kind of upset. This is a good start for Montreal. Anyways, Buffalo already does have 3 losses, and I don't know Buffalo here. Look, if you're going to make them $1.75 or something, I'm not about that. Uh, I don't want to equate the baseball game equivalent here, but I don't think Buffalo is good enough to be laying $1.80 here to anybody. No matter how bad my Montreal team is going to be this season, and you know Montreal's definitely struggled with division teams, but that's because you got Boston, you got Toronto, you got Tampa Bay, Florida, whatever. Montreal's had issues, but not against Buffalo, man. I'm gonna take the Canadian. Yeah, they're minus $1.55 on the puck line. That's what I'll take it. I'll lay a little. Hey, I don't have many options today, so I'm gonna willing to lay a little bit of chalk here on this puck line with a few options today, and I want to win. So maybe Fernando will join me. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Montreal could lose any time here, and look, um, I think we all can be pretty high on uh, Devon Levi here for Buffalo. I mean, he's going to be a legitimate, goaltender in this league. It looks like for a long time. Hey, uh, Jake Allen's fine too. I mean, I think out of the, I think between him and Sam, I think I prefer Jake. Now I'm starting to warm up more to Sam when he has some good spells, but I think Jake's the guy that I'd. Well, that's who I got in this game anyway. I'm taking Jake for Levi. He's already has 3 losses. Comrie was in there for the win the other day, so I've got to take the Canadians. I'll take it plus a goal and a half here in this one. Uh, Montreal kind of gives up some goals on the road. I get it with the total there because it last time they met, they haven't met. Yeah, this has only been a few games, obviously. So last season, 4-3 Montreal won here actually back in March, and they also won here last October, just 4 day, four. Oh, it's early, you guys. Always on these 4 days to the year. Did I say that right? Whatever it was on October 27th. But the reason I look sometimes at when you're looking at the last year, right? It's kind of like sometimes the same road trip year after year. If you're going the same time, you know, that could kind of work things a little bit. Hey, remember we were here last September or last October and won. Let me fix my graphic there. Let me see if the total even 6.5 over 25. I think maybe you know what I'm doing there. Here, even with this big number, Buffalo won at Montreal 7-2 last November. But I'm going to take the Canadians in this one, and Hopefully they continue this nice start. Montreal so far, they're coming off a win in overtime over the Caps. They also beat Chicago 3-2 for their other win, and they earned the point in the season opener against Montreal 6-5. Other game they lost to Minnesota 5-2. So for Buffalo, they beat the Isles last time out 2 nights ago, 3-1. They lost at home to Calgary. They beat Tampa Bay in overtime at home. 4 of their 5 games have come at home thus far, and they have 3 losses. Two at home though. All right, gang. Thank you for that. That is my pick there, and I'll take my Canadians. All right, that's the show as far as today's games. I'm going to try to preview a few football games. I think I've looked at them. I think I got some sides early on. Maybe I'm less comfortable on Monday this week than last week, but we want to knock out a few college football games for next week. Start talking about a few, and I'm going to do so right now. If you want to stick around, otherwise the videos will be up there later with my picks on a few select games from the action this Saturday. So thanks a lot, everybody, for joining me. If you're checking out, if not, stay tuned here. I'm going to go over some college football for this week. With early starts, noon Eastern, and 9 a.m. Pacific. And I do, Ferner. I've got college picks for tonight, for today. Well, not for these are for Saturday, actually. These are 5 days in advance. That's what I'm going to be covering right now. All right. College football on Saturday. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons are going to be hosting the undefeated Florida State Seminoles. Man, is they still undefeated? Florida State 7-0, 2-0 on the road against a Wake Forest team that's won 3 out of 4 at home this season. For Florida State, of course, hey, the games are fun, the games are exciting, and, well, you know what? They got it done against Duke. It was tough. Now, the Duke quarterback did leave the game. It was just a 20-17 game when the Duke quarterback went out. Florida State went on to win 38-20 for another cover, 2 big covers in a row. But you know what? On the road, they played BC earlier this season in their first road game. Remember that one? 31-29. Florida State, and they were a 27.5-point favorite in that one in the complacency game of the early part of the season. Now, granted, that was just the third game, but it was their first road game. It was a conference game. They came back and beat Clemson the next week. Remember, it's just a 1-point favorite. Looking back at it now, probably should have been a bigger favorite. But one thing about this series, you guys, last 8 meetings, 8-0 to the under. 8 straight meetings to the under in this series. And that's got to say something, right? Because, well, okay, maybe Florida State, they've been better. They're better this year than those past teams, but still think Florida State, Wake Forest hasn't been much different, right? Wake Forest has kind of been the same. So, but last year just 52 points. It went under, but it was under 67. The previous year and 49. They didn't meet in the pandemic year. The previous meeting 42. The previous meeting 45. Or 55. So even though two of those numbers were close or over this number, but still 8 straight unders in the series between these two teams. And I don't know if I can get away from that. The total's already gone down. We were on the opening lines show yesterday. It opened 55.5. It's already down to 53. I'm going to look to see. Maybe it's no. I'm these lines are from last night, so at least let me have a current line or a live line here. I'll look at the odds screen too, but and I'm showing 53.5, 53s pretty much everywhere. I'll update it to 53 because I'm probably going to end up on the under in this game. And I mean, series history isn't necessarily just all, but um, we also we'll see. Don't forget in that. Let's see here. Do want to check. Yeah, no injury designation for Travis here for Jordan Travis. Or as they called him on, okay, as they called him on another gambling show, Travis Jordan, which could work too. But Verner here, Mike says he wants to take the points here in this one. Yeah, you know what, maybe a role that I don't necessarily mind it, but I don't know. I think Florida State's in a position where if they could roll, and I'm all about home dogs, but Thomas is looking at Wake Forest. He said, look at the performance they had last week. He says that it was a nice surprise the way Wake Forest came out and surprised Pittsburgh like they did with that crazy game, winning 21-14, a game that really. I had Pittsburgh. I didn't think it would be a bad spot for them, especially that Wake Forest had not uh, covered many spreads this season, so they were 2-4 against the spread coming into that game. So give me the under here, though. A little bit of concern just because the move has been to the under. So, well, maybe I should like that move. Actually, I was thinking maybe I missed out on a little bit, but maybe not. I'm gonna take. I'm on the under. A few more key trends that I liked in the game were Wake Forest 5-16-2 to the under. 16 of their last 23 with a couple of pushes under for Wake Forest. And in conference also this last two seasons, the conference games a little bit for Wake Forest are right there under as well. Florida State's going over. There's no doubt about that of late, especially as a favorite. Thank you, Fernando. And you guys, look, if you guys are trusting Wake Forest, right? Or I'm not saying you guys are, but some of you are liking Wake Forest. You don't necessarily, even though Wake Forest has been explosive, you think that at least Wake Forest comes in with a little bit of defense, right? I would think that if they're going to get this number, it's because Florida State has not have. You wouldn't expect Wake Forest, right, to come out with, their offense. Oh, Solo's going over. Oh no. Thanks, Mike. 5-17-2 to the under. Yes. Yep. Or no? Is that what I said? Did I say it right? Oh, I said 16. You got it 17. No problem. Yeah, and a lot of sometimes when we say these trends, right? If it's generally because sometimes maybe one guy leaves off a game or one's a push or whatever, but you got it. If you got 5-17, that's it. Good enough. Verner says, "Look at these big spreads." So I would think if you think that Wake is staying in there, right? Doesn't it? Isn't it because? Let's see, Florida State. Also, so we said the BC. Now that was 60 points. BC scored 29. So I'm trying to caution myself here. But the Syracuse game that Florida State won as a 20-point favorite was 41-3. Now the Duke game was 38-20. That Duke has a little bit of, they'd have a better offense than Wake. So let me take it now. Before I talk. Oh gosh, before I talk myself out of it, because Mike's got it going over here, and the market move. If there wasn't, I'm not saying the trend has got me on this as an under, but I think there is something to that in this series. And I know Florida State, that this feels like the dead spot to me a little bit as well. So I'm on the under in this one. All right. West Virginia is going to take on Central Florida here in this one. And Central Florida is a favorite by 7. And the total here is currently at 60. I'm showing actually a 59.5 here now at some books. And this one opened, it opened as low as 57.5 actually, and has gone up here with this matchup between West Virginia and Central Florida. West Virginia comes in with a 4-3 record, 1-2 on the road. Central Florida 3-4, 1-2 at home. For West Virginia, they've gone under in 6 of their last 8 road games. They've also gone under in 20 of their last 28 games as an underdog. UCF right now in a little bit of a funk spread-wise. They've failed to cover now in 8 of their last 11, and here they've got to lay some points to West Virginia. There it is. Okay. Just want to get my cheat sheet going here a little bit and maybe talk about some of these quarterbacks for this, because you got, Plumlee for Central. He was in there last. It looked, it looked back to me in that last game. So I, certainly think that's part of the equation here as far as Central Florida being. Not that McLean wasn't doing okay. I mean, McLean actually has more yards per attempt than Plumlee, and Plumlee has 4 interceptions already so far. Solo's going over. Thomas says he's going to be on Central here in this one. I just think of these West Virginia game, that maybe. Hi, Chad. Great. Thank you for your play tomorrow in NBA. Appreciate it. I wish there were more games tomorrow than just 2, but I get it. But it probably works out because the NHL is going with a 15 or 16. I think tomorrow's that day, the Frozen Spectacular or whatever it is, where they play all the games within 15-minute starts in the NHL tomorrow. So we'll have fun with that. All right. These two teams haven't met in 20 years, so no need to check on that necessarily. West Virginia has lost 2 straight games now. That should be of note. They lost at home to Oklahoma State. We had the over as a premium in that game. Interestingly, the 3 straight games, or at least 3 straight games, early on in the season against non-conference opposition. Let's see. Or no, it was, the first 2 games of the season, the games went over for West Virginia. Then the 4 straight victories, they had 3 straight unders against Pitt, Texas Tech, at TCU. Then the loss to Houston was an over, and the loss to Oklahoma State was an over.
Final.
Now for Central Florida, they're back home after two straight. Look, this has been tough because Central Florida's not used to losing right now, and they have four straight losses. Here they lost last week to Oklahoma. They got the money. They were strong. They had a chance to win that game. I thought it was a pretty exciting game late, and of course they got rocked at KU the week before. They've also lost at home to Baylor, which was a kind of a shocker there. They went in. They were favored at home against Baylor by 7.5 and lost 36-35. They also lost at Kansas State as an underdog. So it's been a little bit rough here for Central Florida to come, to have this type of record. They've had inconsistency at quarterback. I'm going to take the under, of course, in this one at 60 now. It opened 57.5. And like I said, West Virginia on the road, offense probably doesn't produce as much, it feels like to me, especially in the underdog role. I'm going to have to take the under here with West Virginia and Central Florida. And continuing on, the Oklahoma Sooners are going to take on Kansas in a good matchup here. I'm not worried about a 10-point spread. This should be a pretty good game. I'm not saying that putting my judgment in here. Let me see. Do I have the time wrong on this game? This game get moved up? I thought this was a noon start. I think it is. I don't think this has been moved. I got this at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. I show one book here at 10 a.m. I don't think they know what they're doing. All right. In this one with Oklahoma and Kansas, it opened Oklahoma 10 and still Oklahoma 10. Yeah, 10. I see a 10.5 out there right now at one pretty sharp offshore book, but I showed it also go up to as high as 11.5 here in this one. And look, Oklahoma, this is a good matchup, man. And don't forget, I mean, Kansas is, it's almost funny to think that Kansas with a 5-2 record, did you think of them maybe as a little bit of an underachiever? I only say that because they have a 3-4 spread record, and maybe I've been on them at the wrong time on the road, but at home they're undefeated. Look, Oklahoma usually can take care of Kansas in this series, and Oklahoma's been on a spread roll right now with a 7-2 mark in their last, 7-1 actually in their last 8 games against the spread for OU. They're 6-1 against the spread so far this season. That's one of the best spread records in the country. It might be the. I want to say I think there is an undefeated spread team. I should know that. Anyways, Oklahoma 7-1 against the spread, but you're going up against KU, 8-2-1 against the spread at home. Probably laying two. This is Kansas, man. They've got. They're extremely competent these days. If you haven't heard, like I said, KU. Those are some pretty good numbers of late. I mean, they've definitely. Now, look, there's nothing wrong with Dillon Gabriel either. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate with 2,100 yards now, 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But remember, I'm not saying it's been an easy schedule at all. They didn't cover in that game against UCF, and it was a thriller. It was a struggle just to win. But they got the money against Texas, remember. They beat Iowa State by 30 as a 20-point favorite. They drubbed Cincinnati. Barely got the money. Doesn't matter. Oklahoma got the money. They walloped Tulsa and they beat SMU and covered the spread by 0.5 point. Yeah, the 3 of these games, they barely covered the spread, I think. 2 or 3 of them here. But Kansas at home, they beat UCF at home. Now, I don't think you can do, there are other comparable teams. You could compare the game all the time here, but Kansas did beat UCF 51-22 at home, while Oklahoma beat UCF 31-29 at home. Obviously, it's not a reflection. I mean, remember, Oklahoma is the team right now that's coming in here undefeated. But this feels like a Kansas spot to me. It feels like Kansas will stay in there against Oklahoma. This has been a great situation. I agree with Mike here. See, Thomas is no brainer, Oklahoma. But this has just been, great for what Kansas is doing. Yeah, it's almost been a bummer when, Jalen Daniels hasn't been in the game, but Bean was fine as well. But in this one, current status of the quarterback situation, though, is just fine. So Jalen Daniels, whether he's in there or not, Bean can play and prove in himself to be a capable backup. Daniels is questionable for the game, and the line will probably move if Daniels is out. Maybe it will go, but I don't think it'll move that much if he is ruled out because Bean has been statistically, I believe. Let me take a look. I think he's been just as capable here. In fact, Bean, Daniels 70. A little bit of a difference here. Daniels 75%, Bean just 65%, but both quarterbacks 9.5 yards per attempt. And the two guys are combined 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Similar stats in that, just Daniels more accurate. So I'm going to be on Kansas. Rock, chalk, football. Believe it or not. And I think it'll be a great one. I don't know if I can trust long-term trends in this series because Kansas is unprecedentedly good right now for Kansas in this surge over the last couple of seasons. I mean, you guys probably remember just 3+ years ago, and especially before the pandemic, Kansas had years of losing and suffering with no hope in sight. And they've only begun to, turn it around here of late over the last couple of years. So much so, like I said, that they're, 8-2-1 against the spread, last 11 at home. Should note also Kansas 24-8-1 to the over as an underdog. Now that goes back a ways where some of those where they were getting blown out underdog type of thing. So also though, I will say that Oklahoma in conference, usually in the middle of the schedule, they also do rack up some big numbers, but under 6 of the last 8 meetings between these two have gone under, and again, several of those were before this recent surge by Kansas. So I don't even know if you'd put that in there necessarily. The total open 68.5 is now 66, but that doesn't mean it still couldn't be a very high scoring game given these two quarterbacks. Or whichever quarterback is in, but given this matchup, Oklahoma has 2,300 yards passing this season. Kansas has 1,600 yards passing. Give me Kansas. Indiana and Penn State from the Big Ten, and well, the storyline here is too easy, but I might be ready for it to come to just a little bit of an end here in this matchup. Maybe you tell me type of scenario. Again, it's been my favorite story to tell on some of the shows this week with hey, we're dealing with here's Penn State, James Franklin. He loves to cover the spread no matter what the spread at home. He loves to tell the alumni in not so many words, uh, lay the points with Penn State. That's not my pick. I'm just saying he says we like covering against bad teams. Go ahead, you bet on us. We will get you the money. And not only that, we want you to buy more season tickets. We want you to buy more merchandise. We want you to, rich guys, do NIL deals with us. And it's all hunky dory. But not when the spread keeps going up this high. I mean, okay, I get it. You're Penn State. Now you're coming in with a loss, mind you, now at this point. Yeah, they are undefeated at home, and yeah, Indiana's 2-5. So I still just not sure I'm going to be able to get on Penn State here on this one. They, like I said, they love to lay these points. Oh man, but this seems high. It opened at uh, as low as 27 and a half. We were on that circus show and it did open a more realistic 29 and a half and has gone up to 31 here. That's getting to me the little bit of danger zone no matter how much fun this team has had covering these numbers here. It just feels like 28. It's funny, Thomas, you're right, Indiana's, but they're always bad in a way. I mean, but am I willing to take 31? I don't know. Maybe Penn State will win 44 to nothing, 44 to 7. Because look, this total's 44. So, it's not hard to figure out what a score right there is going to be when you're dealing with, 44 points, right? 37 to 7, right there. 37 to 7. Could be 38 to 7. Could 38 to 7. Right there, 37 to 7 or 38 to 7 is what it says right there if you go by the spread. Do you think that that is going to be the score here on Saturday? Last year, it was at Indiana 45 to 14. That was an a Penn State cover. Penn State was favored by 14 in that one. The last meeting they played here, the previous year was 24 to nothing Penn State. A shutout, but way under. So how will this one, play out? Can they get that money? You know, it's a thread the needle special, right? Because you can't get too far off of. Once you start to get off of 37 to 7, then you start dealing with you're either going to cover, sure, okay, it's going to be 56 to nothing, give me Penn State and over. But I'm just saying if you're realistic about it, because it should end up right in there somewhere, then, well, once you get to, 42 to 7, then you're, dealing with an over as soon as you get one more score from either team. So I don't know. That's just an interesting way to note, and I kind of like the under. So if I like the under, and it was as high as 47 and a half, and it's kind of gone down here. Now, when we talked about it on the opening line show in Circa, it opened 43 and a half and went to 44, but did see some reports on the line service that books open 47 and a half. Well, I like under, and I like under maybe even 44. If I like the under, I'm not giving out the I'm not giving. My play is on Indiana. My models would indicate there is more of a chance of having that game, 24-0 type of game. And that would be a big time under, but um, maybe let's see. If I'm saying 37-7, maybe it'll be 31-7, and Indiana gets some money, and it still stays under. Like I said, Penn State, they are making a habit right now of covering these big spreads, and it's kind of become a recurring joke. I'm not the first one to use let's go ahead and uh, beat the NIL. Might be a shutout. And Penn State still looking to rack up points here with their now 6-1 record. That's the other thing, right, to consider. In this game is coming off the loss, and we took Ohio State, and it wasn't easy. It was probably a little too low scoring, too close for comfort. Now, Penn State against Iowa at home, that might be the most comparable situation to this, but they still were only favored by 14 points over Iowa. They won that game 31-0, interestingly enough. Another maybe comparable game, they played West Virginia at home and favored by 21, and they, of course, covered that one as well, winning it 28-15. They covered 21 points in a 23-point victory. Penn State has covered 8 straight games at home now. They're also 19-7 against the spread in their last 26. But again, 8-0 at home, covering every number every single time right now. And Indiana, they're not getting numbers at all. This is what makes this one tough for me because I'm going with Indiana. Because Indiana's 1-8 against the spread their last 9 on the road, 8-21 against the spread their last 29 overall. All right. Give me Indiana here in this one. I'm taking a Penn State flat spot here. 31 to. I'm going to just 31-7. Probably will be my score here in this one. Mike says maybe this week you're going to come back with the dogs. College is a little bit tougher. I don't use league wide trends as much like I do with the other sports, but conference trends for sure. All right. The Maryland Terrapins are going to take on the Northwestern Wildcats. Maryland on the road here favored by 13 and a half, and the total here at 49 and a half or so. In this one, when we were on the when we were on the opening line show yesterday, this one opened 51 and a half and was a bet down now here to 49 and a half. We did even see one book as low as 48 and a half. So for me in this one, when you have, I think Northwestern here, look, they are 3-1 at home right now. We know Maryland has actually had a pretty good season with that 5-2 record thus far. Nothing wrong with Maryland, but maybe they've been a little bit overrated. Actually, a 5-2 straight up record is 3-4 record against the spread, and Tagovailoa has been good. He's got 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and well. Northwestern, not so much. They, lost. They actually got the money at Nebraska, getting double digits. I mean, how can you not? Uh, there. But like I said, at home, they've had some good. They beat Minnesota 37-34 as an 11-point underdog, and well, let's take a look. Last year, Maryland won 31-24 as a 14-point favorite at home. So they didn't get the money there. And maybe there can be some defensive success for Northwestern against uh, Tagovailoa. I mean, Northwestern is a long-term under prospect at home, no matter what. I mean, this is a conference game, and a lot of these are conference games. I mean, Northwestern plays almost 2/3 of their home games to the under over the last, I don't know, 10 years, it seems like. I'm showing right now their last 85 home games. That's more than 10 years, right? Their last 85 home games, they have 58 unders and just 26 overs. So that's almost 70% unders at home for Northwestern. And Maryland, you know, uh, some of these Big Ten conference games, really long term numbers for Maryland in conference, but they've been in. So I'm gonna be on the under here. I mean, I don't know if I can ever go against a Northwestern uh, under that's 50, even with Maryland. Look, there's a reason why the grass is 4 inches long in Evanston. All right, I'm taking the under here at 49.5. Maryland and Northwestern. They could, Thomas. They could. Thanks, Mike. Well, Mike, if you say that's an awesome, and it's just a stat. It's not any secret information or anything, but for you to say that is important because you are my stat man. You are the I don't know if it's so much analytics that you use, or if you use more of a um, algorithm with your great uh, digital number readouts. Ray says, "Give me Maryland." Thomas, there, Maryland. It looks like, yeah. So yeah, maybe they could. Uh, Look, I'm happy for Northwestern to have been. They've been okay. They had a lot of stuff going on in the preseason and the off season, so they're one of those teams that have some baggage going on. Ah, thanks, Mike. All right, I'm gonna take the under there. I think is that it? I think I got. Oh no, I got a. Oh boy, I better step on it here. Get us out of here before the top of the hour. Houston and Kansas State in this one. Houston going on the road to take on the Wildcats. This is a sneaky good game, isn't it? Houston coming in here. Yeah, they are 3-4 right now and 0-2 on the road, but obviously they played a pretty good game against Texas. Uh, just when you thought the rivalry was back on, and Texas, uh, they're like, hey, if Houston's going to play us tough, maybe we should get out of this conference and go to the SEC. Good luck. Good luck, Texas. I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine, but for Houston, I wouldn't be too disappointed. They had a little decent run here with the win over the West Virginia and then the cover there. They were getting 23.5 points in that game. They outpassed uh, Texas in that game for sure. Kansas State, they clobbered TCU. They won and covered easily at Texas Tech for a couple of good performances here for Kansas State of late. And, I know Kansas State, look, they get a lot of hubbub, if you will. Uh, they don't miss a beat with their coach now. But watch out for Houston, man. They've got a quarterback with 2,000 yards this year and Donovan Smith, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Houston, they got a pretty decent offense. Let's see. Oh, first meeting ever between these two teams now with Houston here. At least they'll face Kansas State more frequently, right? Well, Mike. I like to be done though by 2 hours at least. For me, I'm going to be on Houston. I don't know if I can. Like I said, I think they've got a decent enough offense to hang in there. Look, the total's 60 and a half. It might not be enough. I think Houston probably can have some success. They've gone over in 21 of their last 28 road games, and 14 of their last 20 overall have gone over as well. Now, Kansas State, pretty solid under as a favorite, but I think Houston will continue to have their offensive success. Kansas State 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 games overall, and 7-1 against the spread last 8 in conference. But feels like almost too many points to me. It is 17, right? Not 14. Okay, give them to me. Give me Houston here. We when we were on the Circa show, it opened 17 and a half, moved to 17. Um, I don't think I ever saw. There was a 14 actually out there at one point, but I didn't. I'm limited. I don't have as many books as every. Yeah. Do we have multiple outs? Yeah. Can we fund every book? No. All right. Well, pretty stiff move to the over, and I think the Sharps are already on it. I mean, to me, it looks like a high-scoring game. I'm going to think Houston stays in there. I don't think Houston can. I don't think Kansas State, is some dominating offense, but I think against Houston, they will not have a problem with Howard passing. With Howard passing the ball, he could probably match up with Smith offensively. And look, Kansas State, good defense, but I think this Houston offense is good enough. Let's see, they put up 28 at Texas Tech. They lost bad in that game by 21 points, not even close to the money. But like I said, Houston's covered 2 straight. So is K State. I'm going to take 17 points though with Houston. Ferner wants to hang in there with Houston. And again, I like the over. I'm not necessarily giving it out here, and I don't think it's going to be a premium at 60. But I would think if I've got Houston, I'm going to have the over. If it stays under, I'm probably going to lose. I'm probably going to lose both. I would think Houston will not have the offensive contribution to score. But I'm not worried. To me, it's like K State get the lead. I'm not interested in the killer instinct of Kansas State. I think Houston, keeps if Kansas State's winning by 7, 10, even 14 or 17 points, Houston will find the wherewithal to continue to put some points on the board and threaten the cover, if not get it. And that's why I think I have them in this one. Okay, South Carolina and Texas A&M here. This one's interesting because this one got hit to the under, and I already had the over in pocket from yesterday, so I'm a little bit disappointed here. I might be missing out on the best number. Let me check the old line tracking that I have on here for the game and see how bad it was, because it came in while I was on the air here. I bet it last night. I bet I bet the over at 54 and a half, and now, well, I'm probably going to update it, but I think I'm getting the worst of the number. Negative CLV Ramon Scott, maybe what you can call me here, 53 and a half now. That's a pretty significant move too. It's not terrible. So I'm not feeling that great about when I see a market move like that. But right now I'm on the over there. But I'm not ready. I can't give it out now. I was ready to kind of give it out. Thomas, is it the lines or is it me? It gives you a headache. So I was looking to go over, I think, in this one, but um, I'm going to back off that. I was thinking I was going to give that as my play, but right now I'm just sitting within pocket. If you want to, you know, wishy washy play, there it is. But for me, I think I know where I'm going with the game in general, and I think that's going to be with A&M, especially now. I liked A&M because I think it is going to go over. The fact that the move has been on the under kind of actually solidifies my opinion a little bit here on A&M in a conference game. The one thing is, these two teams have been going over quite a bit. That's why I went with the over last night. I mean, South Carolina over in 7 of their last 10 dating back to last season, over in 13 of their last 18 on the road. Texas A&M, they they seem to go over in these, mid-season conference games a lot. They went over in the Alabama game, believe it or not, and the Arkansas game also went over when they were on that 3-game winning streak. So I'm probably going to have to I'm probably going to end up laying the points here with A&M, laying 2 touchdowns. This is revenge for A&M. They lost last year 30-24 at South Carolina. But the game 2 years ago, when the line was pretty similar, A&M 2 years ago was favored at home by 19.5 and the total 46.5, so bigger spread, lower total. But they won it by 30 points in a 58, a game that went over. So if I like it over, I'm going to probably take A&M here. I've got to like them to cover that number. They also won here pre-pandemic, 30-6 in 2019 as a 10.5 point favorite. Now for South Carolina, they've come in having failed to cover in 3 straight games now. They lost at Missouri by 22 points. They were getting just a touchdown. They lost against Florida at home in that wild one, and they lost at Tennessee. So looks like Thomas wants to lay it with me, and I'll do it. I'm going to take A&M. Already seeing big. I'm not. Ticket count is more important to me than money, but money has. I look at the 2 line services that I pay. Are supposed to be more accurately representing the lines, because the reason why the line services maybe that their numbers for ticket and money count can be trusted. People say, "Oh, I don't trust that. They put out fake numbers." Who do they do? Why do they put out fake numbers? To fool 1% of the betting population like me? No, it's not that. What happens is they share the numbers because many of the books that contribute their data to the line services receives the information back in real time for free. This way, they can get out ahead of line moves when they start to happen industry wide. You don't want to be sitting there with a 3 when the game has moved to 4. So, what sports books do is say, we will share real time data with you, company Don Bondest, or uh, 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 I'm trying to make up a funny name so I don't say the names of the companies, but there's 2 major line services. I have one over here. You guys see me looking back and forth all the time, looking at the lines, right? So they share the data in order to receive real time data back, and it's kind of a trade off between the two. This is the way it's been explained to me. I'm not in these companies. I've never worked for one of these companies, but that's why those companies have. They say. You go on some of the sites, they're like, it's a free site, could be delayed data. And to me, when I look at money, it's more important to me earlier in the week than it is late in the week when the limits are high and everybody's bombing away at different amounts. Here early in the week, the limits are considerably lower, max bets are greater. So when you see, and people who bet earlier are usually more sophisticated bettors. So I like money early on and ticket count late. I like ticket count overall. And people, the argument about ticket count is, hey, well, you can't trust ticket count because someone could walk up to the window and place that they want to do $1,000, so they do 10 $100 bets. Okay, like everybody's like, hey, I want to fool the book. So, there's sometimes a little bit of a problem like online where you got to put it in at 100 and let the line um, re uh, re um, recalculate, calibrate. Maybe the line is calibrating to, because you just can't bomb away, limit plays like in live betting a lot of times. They say, oh, this book's limiting me at $25. Well, yeah, you're probably a sophisticated live player that beats them every time. So you're going to get $25 a pop. That's just it. That's just a fact. Why not spread your action out a little bit and give a little back to the books? You should just be able to do that in your own variance. Everyone's going to lose bets. But like I said, people say, oh, I got banned because I was betting over under K props and I won them all. Yeah, books don't want you doing that. They want a variety. They want someone who is going to have a little bit of variety. Now, if you want to walk up to the window 10 times and do it, nobody's going to check your ID, but you're going to be limited. As a walk up customer. Okay, well, enough of that. Nobody cares. Let me get to South Carolina and Texas A&M here. In this one with Texas A&M as my play because of the I like the money. I like the early money count on this one. Quite frankly, I think that this looks pretty sharp to me. The line opened 13. It's now 14, and maybe even going up a little bit higher. Give me Texas A&M. Yeah. Well, Thomas, I was saying because a lot of time, how many times, if you guys live bet, I like to live bet, and sometimes I'm playing with that middle, right? Because you could figure it out on the fly. I mean, these things, the point spread's flying back and forth, and one team scoring or whatever, but you put in your bet, and it calibrates a new line right after the first sequence of bets comes in. You're like, why can't I get on this line? People always complain, oh, they're shutting me out. Well, you're on a delay or whatever. Okay, here's my last game, Tulsa and SMU, and then we'll get out of here for the night. And Tulsa on the road, they're getting 20 points here from SMU. What? All right, now I'm not going to get too, bent out of shape with SMU at this point. I mean, definitely like everything that SMU is doing here at this point. And for me here, get to my data. So SMU undefeated at home thus far with that 3-0 record. This one, the total open 57.5, and it's dipped here around half a point here to 57. Tulsa 3-4 record this season, and 1-2 on the road thus far. I think it's probably going to be too many points for me not to want to get involved with Tulsa. They've been a good long-term prospect. Now, they have had some struggles of late. I can't ignore that. Last 15 games, they've gone 3-10-2 against the spread, and SMU's been covering numbers. But this is kind of a road series, road dominated series as far as spread wise, where the home team is favored by too many points quite often. 7 of the last 9 meetings have gone to the road team, and these are teams that match up every year pretty much. Tulsa on the road, where they're often getting too many points, given the nature of their program, 35, 17, and 1 against the spread, 68% over the last 53 road games. Now, like I said, it hasn't been as good of late. These teams have combined to go 4-10 to the under this season. SMU's gone under in 7 of their last 9 overall, and 6 of their last 8 games as a favorite. Those are mostly several of them this season, including last time out. They won at Temple with that cover 55-0. Somehow I wanted to take Temple in that one. They were outgained by 433 yards. Got that one wrong. They also beat up on ECU 31-10 as a 12-point favorite. They covered against Charlotte for 3 straight covers right now. Or no, 2 straight covers. They didn't get the money actually in that game against Charlotte. Won by 18 points as a 23-point favorite. So I'm going to end up on Tulsa here. I think they've failed 2 straight right now. So maybe a buy low spot here. Spread opened 17.5 or so, went down to 17 and is now up to 20. I'm interested in Tulsa here. I think in this one, maybe a comparable game was the Louisiana Tech game. SMU did get the money in that one, but Tulsa, maybe they're just slightly better, on offense. Williams is not anything special at quarterback. We know that. And Stone's pretty good. But I'm taking 20 points. I better get off the air here before I change my mind. I'm just always on. I just like to take Tulsa quite a bit. It's been good for SMU, no doubt about it. It's got to be maybe just a field goal too high for me. And now on this move, I don't see any indication that says this is too sharp of action at this point on SMU. Maybe I could just take a sneak peek at the injury report, but I don't think that's it necessarily. I just think it's a little bit of momentum right now, certainly for SMU and their strong run at this point. But I'll harken back a little bit to the underdogs, the road underdogs in this series, because look, it hasn't always been SMU dominant throughout the years. In fact, so SMU won and covered last year on the road, but the year before that, Tulsa won. They were favored on the road actually that year. So Tulsa's been just as good. Tulsa won. These guys have played every year pretty much for the last decade plus. And like I said, if a frequent series where the road underdog has done very, very well in the series. So give me 20 points with Tulsa. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Morning Steam. Nice to have everyone here with me today, and we'll be back tomorrow for more Morning Steam. We'll preview NBA tomorrow. 2 games. It's going to be awesome. Thomas is backing up the truck for the Tulsa game. He likes it here, I think. But I'll be back tomorrow with more Morning Steam. There's 97 hockey games tomorrow, it feels like. There's, possibly another baseball game. We'll see tonight. And college football, too. College football tomorrow, don't forget. All right, everyone. Thanks. Hey, one note before we get out of here. Penn State just got steamed, so I guess I'm getting more points with Indiana right now. Penn State on the move. It was 31 when we previewed it, but I'm looking right now and I see already one sharp book offline at 32 points. So that one's going up. Looks like Penn State on the move here. It sounds like maybe James Franklin just did his Monday morning radio appearance and possibly predicted another cover, and all the alumni just sending all their money. 32.5 here at Circa now on Penn State. I probably should have waited. The steam is scaring me. All right. For Tony'sPicks.com. Catch you tomorrow, more Morning Steam. This has been Ramon Scott.